I need to tell you something I have never told anyone. Not a single soul. Because every time I tried, I convinced myself I was losing my mind. That it wasn't real. That it couldn't be. But it was real. Every single second of it was real. It started the night of the storm. I was 15 years old, alone in my room, listening to the rain hammer the window. Thunder so loud it rattled the walls. I pulled the covers over my head like I used to when I was little. Back when my dad was still alive. Back when the dark didn't scare me because he was in the next room, and then I heard it. Not the thunder, not the wind, a voice. Low and cold and impossibly close. Right there in the room with me. Tell your mother. She is running out of time. I couldn't move, my whole body locked up. And I wanted to scream, but my throat had closed. Like a fist had grabbed it from the inside. I turned to the mirror across the room and I saw him, my father, standing right there, looking back at me through my own reflection, his face the same as I remembered. The same man I buried when I was 10 years old, right there in my bedroom mirror. And every night after that, he came back. Tell your mother. She's running out of time. He didn't come just at night. He came anywhere I was alone. In the garden, in class when the room went quiet, standing in a doorway. Always the same 7 words. Tell your mother. She is running out of time. Every time I saw him, I'd pinch myself. Hard. I'd bite down on my lip until I tasted blood just to convince myself I was awake. And every time the pain was real. I was awake. He was there. I couldn't tell my mum. How do you say that to someone? Mum, Dad's ghost is haunting me. She'd already moved on, remarried a man named Jake. Kind, quiet, Mr. Jake. Always smiling with that patient face. I was supposed to be grateful, I think, and for a while I tried to be. One afternoon, I remember the light was low, the room smelled like dust and old wood. I just broke open. I sat on the floor of my bedroom and I cried out to him, Dad, why are you doing this to me? What do you want from me? And that was the first time he changed. He had always appeared distant, almost peaceful in his sadness. But this time, his face twisted. Rage, pure, cold rage, the kind that comes from something unfinished. He leaned toward me and his voice dropped even lower, rough like gravel. Like shaking like a man who had been waiting for years to say this. Even in death, you refuse me peace. I pressed my back against the wall. He didn't come closer. He never came closer. He just stared, like he was measuring whether I was ready for what he was about to say. Then he spoke, slowly, each word deliberate. Your mother? She was a witch. She needed my blood. She killed me. Then she married a spirit that helped her do it. The man in this house, Mr. Jake, he is not human. I shook my head. I said no. I told him he was wrong. I told him my mother was not capable of that. But even as the words left my mouth, I felt something shift, something deep and cold moving through my chest. Because I had always felt it, the wrongness in that house, the way Mr. Jake's smile never quite reached his eyes, the way my mother sometimes looked at him with something that wasn't love, something that looked more like debt. Your mother, she was a witch. She needed my blood. She killed me. Then she married a spirit that helped her do it. The man in this house, Mr. Jake, he is not human. My father kept going. He told me there was a spell, that she had cast it to silence him, to keep him from reaching me. But the spell was breaking, and when it broke completely, Mr. Jake would come for what was owed to him, a debt my mother had never paid. And when he came to collect, she would confess everything, or she would die. I dropped to my knees. Literally, my legs just gave out. And I was kneeling on the dirt floor of the garden, and the sky was pink with early morning light, and everything I had ever known about my family was crumbling around me like old paper. The man who raised me, a spirit, the woman I called Mom, a murderer, and then a sound, a creak, a voice behind the glass. Mom, calling from the window, soft and unsuspecting. Mary Ann, who are you talking to? I froze. She was at the kitchen window looking out at me with that familiar expression, the worried one she always wore when she thought something was wrong, but didn't want to us directly. My dad had already vanished, gone behind the old stone statue in the corner of the garden, like he always did. And I stood up slowly and I looked at her face, really looked at it, and I thought, does she know the spell is breaking? Does she feel it? I forced a smile. I told her I was just thinking out loud. She nodded and walked away from the window, and I stood there in the garden, with the truth burning a hole in my hand, deciding what to do with it. Because here is what I know now, after everything. Justice doesn't wait, it doesn't sit politely at the door until you're ready. It comes like a ghost through the rain, cold, relentless, saying the same thing over and over until you can't pretend any more. My father died for the truth to come out, and the only question left for me was this: was I brave enough to be the one to say it? Tell her, before it's too late.